Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Lynn Zeisis, StandWithUs Northeast Board Chair.
First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for being here. For some reason, this was a really busy night. I think there were like 3 or 4 events that a lot of people were invited to. So thank you for being here. As the voice said, I'm Lynn Zeisis. I'm the board chair for Northeast for StandWithUs. As we've seen over the past 6 months, the need for this amazing organization has never been greater, unfortunately. From what is happening at Columbia and other campuses across the country to what is happening in our K-12 schools, StandWithUs has been the place that students, professors, and others are turning to for help. And with that, I'd like to turn your attention to the 2 screens.
What do you do when the world has gone mad? When logic, reason...
Hamas is not a terrorist group for us, of course, as you know, it's a political movement.
Morality...
We must normalize massacres as the status quo.
...have all been inverted. Misinformation, propaganda, and hate speech are everywhere. What if there were somewhere to go to access effective and shareable messaging, guidance, support, legal help, and up-to-the-minute, accurate, and relevant information relating to Israel and the Middle East? That place exists, and it didn't happen by accident. During the Second Intifada, as Israelis struggled to defend the Jewish homeland from suicide bombings, shootings, and countless fatal attacks, Israel's right to self-defense and its right to exist were being delegitimized and demonized. Sound familiar? Israel was maliciously criticized for defending its citizens, and so were its supporters. Pro-Israel students were vilified and ostracized by faculty, anti-Semitic speakers, and worst of all, by fellow students. All the while, college administrations did nothing, and those students stood alone because the Jewish community didn't have a plan to deal with it. The need was clear, the situation was dire, and with a grassroots effort, StandWithUs was founded, championing the core mission of helping people around the world stand up for Israel and stand against anti-Semitism. We started by organizing rallies to show support for Israel. We hosted hand-picked groups of student leaders for educational conferences, and we grew and grew and grew. We saw that students needed guidance and support on their campuses, so we founded the Emerson Fellowship, a prestigious program that activates and empowers the next generation of college student leaders. The fellows have been making an impact on a global scale, with chapters in the US, Canada, Brazil, the UK, the Netherlands, South Africa, and Australia. We soon realized that we needed to prepare students before they experience the harsh realities of Jewish college life, so they could hit the ground running in leadership positions on their campuses. So we founded our high school department, the flagship Kenneth Leventhal High School Internship, and our Teen Leadership Council. To date, nearly 2 million high school and college students have benefited from our programs. When data showed that young American Jews were rapidly losing their connection to Israel, we developed the Israel Link curriculum, now being used in hundreds of middle schools across America to bond Jewish students with Israel in creative and inspiring ways. Soon after, the StandWithUs Side-Off Legal Department was born, coordinating hundreds of pro bono attorneys to defend students, faculty, and community members against anti-Semitic discrimination. We formed a center for combating anti-Semitism to focus on stopping and teaching about the world's oldest hatred. We initiated a Holocaust education department, bringing dynamic programming into thousands of classrooms annually, teaching young people of all backgrounds about our history and what it truly means to never forget. All this while becoming leaders in social media, boasting over 1.6 million Facebook followers, 1.3 million on Instagram, and hundreds of thousands more in various languages, including in Arabic, where we share information and context about Israel, the Jewish people, and the Middle East. So when October 7th, 2023 came, and the bloodiest massacre of Jews since the end of the Holocaust occurred and a war with Hamas ensued, we were ready to use the international platform we had built for 22 years to meet new threats and challenges head-on. The campus leaders we've trained, along with our alumni network with well over 1,000 graduates, have been stepping up for Israel in critical ways, organizing rallies, hosting Israel briefings, fighting propaganda online, and leading their communities with clarity, resilience, and strength, reaching over 70,000 peers in person and extending our support to hundreds of colleges worldwide. And since October 7th, the Stand With Us high school team held over 500 educational briefings, presentations, and workshops for teens that reached over 55,000 high school students. And it is because of our multi-layered synergy and of the Seidoff Legal Department, whose caseload has increased tenfold, that we were able to act quickly and effectively in the wake of October 7th. In a muddled information landscape, our leading social media platforms have had over 1 billion interactions since the beginning of the Hamas war, and continue to reach millions each and every day. The world needs people of conscience to stand against genocidal terror, to push back against anti-Semitism, and to spread sanity in a world gone mad. It's up to all of us. It's up to me, and it's up to you. It is time to stand up and stand together. It's time to stand with us.
Please welcome Avi Posnick, Executive Director of Stand With Us Northeast and New England.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Avi Posnick, and I am honored to be the Northeast Director for Stand With Us. As Lynn said, our work over the years, especially over the last 7 months, has been critical. You can't build a fire station while the fire is burning. Stand With Us was established 23 years ago for this reason, and today we're working in overdrive. We continue working hard for people of all ages to stand tall for Israel and stand firmly against anti-Semitism. But our ability to grow and succeed in the Northeast region is dependent on our partnership with you. So thank you for your unwavering support, and thank you for being with us this evening. Tonight's event would not be possible without the incredible leadership of our board here in the Northeast, led by our chair, Lynn Zeises. Lynn is an amazing leader, mentor, and friend, and I have the honor of having her as the dedicated, tireless chair of our local board. And on that note, I want to thank all our board members in the room, so please stand if you are a board member of our team here in New York. Thank you for all that you do. I want to also thank my amazing team in New York and all the Stand With Us staff who worked on this event. Thank you. We have a great show for you tonight with our amazing keynote and honorees. Honorees who have truly made a difference in the fight against anti-Semitism. Before we get to our honorees, you saw in the video information about our Emerson Fellowship, our international campus fellowship program that educates, trains, and empowers students on college campuses. Since its inception in 2007, this program has trained over 2,000 students. We are honored to have some of the alumni of this program here with us this evening. These are now young professionals who are taking the empowerment they received and using it in their places of employment and continue to grow our network. I would like to ask all the alumni who are here to please stand and be recognized. Over the last few weeks, we have been appalled by the level of vicious anti-Jewish racism being promoted by anti-Israel tent encampments on college campuses. These encampments are the latest in a years-long onslaught of anti-Semitic and anti-Israel activity at universities across the country. There is no place for promoting bigotry, discrimination, or violence against any individual or group based on ethnicity, religion, national origin, or otherwise. Nor is it acceptable for hate groups to deny students full access to educational opportunities by physically blocking access or by making people feel unwelcome and or unsafe. At Stand With Us, we call on university administrations nationwide to take all the necessary steps to ensure a safe learning environment for all students, including by enforcing all applicable school policies. We're seeing hate like we have not seen since the Nazi era. But at Stand With Us, which was founded by the daughter of Holocaust survivors, we empower our students and communities to fight back. One of the ways we are doing this is through legal action. Before October 7th, our legal team dealt with approximately 150 incidents a year on average. Since October 7th, in just the last 7 months, we have dealt with more than 600 incidents. To help deal with these incidents, we're not only urging the Office of Civil Rights to launch Title VI investigations, but we have filed federal lawsuits against a number of college campuses and even a high school district in Texas. In addition to our Sadov Legal Department and Center for Combating Anti-Semitism, which you'll hear about shortly, we created a new entity called the StandWithUs Center for Legal Justice. Through this, the new entity is the plaintiff, and we are able to protect students and faculty members who are nervous to be identified. Because we are known as a leader in supporting Jewish students on campus and all the way down to K through 12, Congress has reached out to us in advance of many of the hearings that have taken place. Wherever StandWithUs sees an anti-Semitic campaign, we are there to help. We provide strategy, resources, and education to empower the local community to make a difference. We are creating toolkits to help students with guidance and best practices. In addition to our work on college campuses, we are educating and empowering our teens as well. Through our Leventhal internship program and our Teen Leadership Council and more, we are here to support our students before they get to campus. In addition to working directly with the students, we are also working with faculty, administrators, and superintendents to ensure we can be proactive and work on the policies needed to protect Jewish students, but also to hold school leadership accountable when they do not act. We have formed a K-12 educator network to educate and mobilize teachers to respond to anti-Semitic incidents and curricula. We are supporting local groups who are at the forefront of some of these responses. You all may have heard of some of the incidents that have occurred here in New York City schools, whether at Hillcrest High School in Queens or the Origin School in Brooklyn, and many more. Just yesterday, the Chancellor of the New York City schools testified in front of Congress in regards to the anti-Semitism that is happening in the schools. There is one group that was formed to not only document what has been happening, but to empower those teachers impacted by anti-Semitism to stand strong and speak out. It's because of their work and their information that played a key role in providing Congress to ask the questions they did and hold yesterday's hearing. I want to ask the members of this organization who are here, the New York City Public School Alliance, to stand and be recognized for their incredible leadership. At StandWithUs, we believe that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism because Israel is a huge part of Jewish identity for most Jews. We will not stop until our Jewish students can feel comfortable on campuses and their schools as proud Jews and Zionists. There are two fronts to the war Israel and the Jewish people are fighting right now. There is a conventional front, the war taking place on the ground in Gaza right now, and thankfully the IDF has the means to fight that war. But the second front is a front we are facing here, in countries around the world, in our communities, on college campuses, on social media, and more. This is where we need to be the IEF, the Israel Education Forces. At StandWithUs, we represent you. We work to strengthen your children and grandchildren so they are empowered to speak up. We educate and inspire the next generation to stand with Israel. Anti-Semitism is not something we can fight alone. It requires a movement. And that is what StandWithUs is. That is what we are building on 6 continents, and I invite everyone to join us. Don't just worry about all the challenges we are facing. Become more engaged with us. Thank you. And now please turn your attention to the video screens to meet tonight's honorees.
The Stand With Us Side-Off Legal Department is a crucial arm of the Stand With Us organization dedicated to combating anti-Semitism and advocating for Israel's rights through legal action. One of the primary focuses of the Stand With Us Side-Off Legal Department is providing legal support and help to anyone targeted for discrimination, harassment, or any other form of targeting due to their Jewish or Zionist identity. This support includes assisting victims of anti-Semitic hate crimes in navigating the criminal justice system, filing Title VI complaints, filing lawsuits, helping students file harassment and bias complaints, and representing students in the administrative hearings. We pursue whatever legal action is necessary to empower students in K-12 on college campuses or anyone in the community so that they can fight anti-Semitism and support Israel. We collaborate closely with other organizations, legal networks, and pro bono lawyers to leverage collective expertise and ensure that we do not duplicate resources in pursuit of our common goals. David Abrams has played a pivotal role in expanding our efforts in the tri-state area. In his own right, David is one of the pioneers in pursuing creative litigation against anti-Israel activists. He won a seminal case against the National Lawyers Guild for anti-Israel discrimination, placing him forevermore on Palestine Legal's most hated pro-Israel lawyers list. David is one of the most creative legal minds in this country, and we are so grateful that he has been working with Stand With Us since our legal team's inception. He is one of the most involved and reliably helpful lawyers we have nationwide on these issues. To name just 2 recent cases that David has enabled us to win. A Jewish 9th grader in a public high school with few Jews was targeted for severe bullying, Holocaust jokes, anti-Semitic curses, and a violent physical attack at school for which the student required medical treatment. Stand With Us partnered with David and filed a civil rights complaint with the State Department of Justice. After months of litigation, David succeeded in obtaining a settlement on behalf of the Jewish student. The district has to pay for the Jewish student to complete high school in a new district with a significant Jewish population and an administration committed to tackling anti-Semitism. The student has now started the new school and is thriving, all thanks to David's countless hours of pro bono work. Similarly, the Stand With Us Center for Legal Justice recently filed a lawsuit against MIT for failure to address anti-Semitism adequately. At the last moment, literally an hour before the filing, our local counsel in Massachusetts dropped out. Among our national team of litigators working on the case, none had bar membership in Massachusetts. David stepped in and literally saved the day. He became our local counsel in that lawsuit. We would not have been able to file against MIT without him. Thanks to David, we are holding MIT accountable, and anti-Semitism on campus will be addressed. Thank you, David, for your work and continued dedication to the Stand With Us mission and the Jewish people. Only through the selfless contributions of legal experts like yourself are we able to accomplish as much as we have. As the fight continues in the coming weeks, months, and years, we know we will continue to strengthen and win in the face of rising anti-Semitism with your help.
Please join me in saying congratulations to David Abrams.
Thank you very much.
We have a pretty large Jewish population at my school, but a lot of the kids aren't really so educated on Israel and not really so in touch with their Jewish identity. Post October 7th, me and Sasha and our other co-president of our Israel Club really wanted to bring speakers into our school as soon as possible.
I was able to bring in 2 speakers to the Safra Center, Charlotte Korchak and Matthew Liebvik.
I go to campuses every day and I wear my star out because I want students to know that they shouldn't be afraid to do so.
And this was a really great opportunity to be able to have teens learn.
We were only able to do that through really pushing for it to be able to happen, because we did get some pushback. You know, this can't happen, it's too soon, and we did not take no for an answer.
People have come up to me and Sophie and said, wow, that was really incredible, thank you.
We did it a few more times over the course of the school year to bring in different Stand With Us speakers and Israelis to speak about their experiences. We were looking for a way to engage Jewish girls in our community with that part of their identity if they wanted to. We wanted to give them a space and the resources to learn more about Judaism and Israel, and we wanted to also give a space for people who wanted to give back, whether that be through community service, different chesed charity things, as well as just bonding and community building.
I think Stand With Us has impacted my perception of Israel and Judaism. It made me appreciate my Jewish identity a lot more. I was able to learn how to identify and approach anti-Semitism in the best way possible, most effective way.
Stand With Us has really helped me on my journey to become the Zionist I am today.
A little bit after October 7th, we got a new group on campus called Raise the Consciousness, and they've been responsible for sowing a lot of chaos on campus. They've threatened a lot of people from Hillel, including Jewish administrators, simply for supporting Israel or just offering support to students who support Israel. A student saw an Israeli flag on campus and vandalized it, and they basically said that this flag is murder, apartheid, baby-killing scum. A little bit after that, we got another group called Jews Against Zionism, and they recently changed their name to Jews for Palestine. A lot of false allegations, calling us racist, homophobic, and they have been advocating for our removal from campus. I reached out to the Stand With Us legal department, and I was put in touch with Yael, who helped me start crafting a folder of everything that happened and documenting every incident and building a case. Every time there was an incident on campus, I knew exactly who to go to. I would report it to my regional manager, and I would immediately be put in touch with the proper people who could help me respond. I've been trying to, organize a lot of programming on campus. I'm the president of the Hillel there. So we've been having at least 2 or 3 events a week. People were generally afraid to express themselves and their opinions, and I really wanted to encourage more people to be able to stand proud and tall in their identities and their solidarity with Israel. Before I was introduced to Stand With Us, I honestly didn't think about Judaism and Israel that much. I think Stand With Us has definitely inspired me to participate in more Israel advocacy and combating anti-Semitism.
Let's have all of our amazing student leaders on stage and let's have them be recognized. I want to also acknowledge this is breaking from the script a little bit, but one other partner here in the room. We saw everything that was happening with Esty at SUNY Purchase, but the leadership and staff of Hillels of Westchester has really been doing some amazing work, really at the front lines, and I want to acknowledge all the representatives of Hillels of Westchester who are here. Thank you so much. So coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to be hearing from our keynote speaker, Columbia professor Shai Davidai. But first, on your chair tonight, there's a pledge card and a pen. I'm asking you to join us to be a big part of this movement. But what I'm asking you to do isn't to give charity. I'm asking you to make an investment in the next generation. Zionists are not born. They need to be educated, they need to be created, and they need to be supported. Your investment ensures that the next generation are proud of their heritage, proud of their homeland, and determined to stand up and defend things we all hold dear. Here is an example of the impact of your investment and the people who are recognizing it.
You've experienced the hostility. Have you been blocked on campus?
Yes, I was the student who was denied access to get to my class.
You guys have closed the entrance. We are UCLA students. I have my ID right here. I'm being blocked off, not by the security guard, but by you two, you three.
When you came here as a freshman, did you expect this?
I was mentally prepared for such encounters because I did Stand With Us internships where they prepared us on how to act in these situations and what to do.
They do amazing work.
Yes.
Stand With Us do amazing work. And I love that one of their objectives is de-escalate, but get done what you need to get done.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at a critical moment in history. We are all here because we care, and now it's time to step up. Step up and stand with Ellie Tsivis from UCLA. Stand with Sasha and Sophie Harris from Columbia Grammar. Stand with Esty Heller from SUNY Purchase. Stand with Shai Davidai from Columbia University, and stand with our students around the world.
In 1982, then Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin testified before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I believe. And when he was threatened by a certain senator with cutting off US aid to Israel, this was his response. Don't threaten us with cutting off your aid, it will not work. I'm not a Jew with trembling knees. I'm a proud Jew with 3,700 years of civilized history. Nobody came to our aid when we were dying in the gas chambers and ovens. Nobody came to our aid when we were striving to create our country. We paid for it, we fought for it, we died for it. We will stand by our principles, we will defend them, and when necessary, we will die for them again, with or without your aid. I thought that this was an apt quote to introduce Shai Davidai, because Shai is not a Jew with trembling knees. He's really been a stalwart defender of the students at Columbia. And I just randomly happened to be standing next to him a few weeks ago, protesting up at Columbia when he was denied access to the campus. And he's been an unbelievable advocate. So a little bit about Shai. Shai Davidai is an Israeli professor at Columbia Business School. He moved to the United States in 2010 to pursue a PhD in social psychology from Cornell and has worked at Princeton and the New School. Since October 7th, Shai has been devoting his time and energy to battle support for terrorism and the rise in anti-Semitism at Columbia and colleges across the country. It's really my pleasure to introduce Shai Davidai.
Start walking around, and I don't like standing, but I'll try. So a few things before I begin. One thing is, everything you just said, take 50% off and give that to my wife. I mean, I'm serious, because you don't wake up one day and say, you know what, let's just throw my career out of the window, let's just make my life miserable, and you'll just accept it. This was an entire, from the beginning, an entire conversation with my wife. She keeps me grounded, and she also she fights back sometimes. And so that's the first thing. The second thing I want to say is, people always ask me, can we quote you? Can we film you? And I say, yes, of course. When you speak the truth, you don't hide behind keffiyehs and masks and sunglasses. And I think it's extremely important to say. So the only ask that I have is, if you do take something out of this and you feel like, okay, this is important, this is interesting, share it with someone who's not in the room. Share it with someone who's not Jewish. Share it with someone who doesn't understand. And then the third thing I'd say before I begin, which is so important for me, every time we start anything, to remember the hostages, that we still have 132 hostages that we need to bring home. So, yeah. So, I never write speeches, which is good or bad. When the first time when someone says, oh, I heard your speech, and I was like, what speech? I've never given a speech. And I was like, oh, you mean when I talked and people listened? Okay, that's a speech. But today I wrote a few things for myself, so I might be looking down, which is weird for me, but I just want to remember. We are living through, many of us, of a certain age, are living through the most difficult times of our lives. And I think just acknowledging that, just sitting with that for a second is so extremely important, because this last Passover was the most important Passover I've ever celebrated. And the past Yom HaShoah was the most important Yom HaShoah I've ever commemorated. And next week, for Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut, Memorial Day and Independence Day, will be the most important I've personally experienced in my 41 years. And the reason why it's such a difficult time has nothing to do with politics. And it has nothing to do with ideology. And it has nothing to do with differences of opinion. The reason why we are experiencing this, the most difficult times of our lives, is hate. It's just hate. It's hate that masquerades itself as politics. It's hate that masquerades itself as some social justice, but it's hate. And that's why it's so difficult. But at the same time, when you realize that it's hate, it makes it easier to deal with it because we know how to deal with it. So like I mentioned, this week was Yom HaShoah. We're heading towards Yom HaZikaron. It's an entire week that is just focused on remembering, right? Especially if you follow Israeli news, like it seems like for an entire week the news stops, the world stops, and all we talk about is what happened in the Holocaust, and all we talk about is the fallen soldiers, and we spend that week to remember. Now, we remember partially to respect the fallen, to respect the victims. But we also remember because we have no other choice. We don't have a privilege to forget. We remember, think about it, we remember every Passover, we remember Egypt. And every Purim, we remember Persia. And we remember the Spanish Inquisition, and we remember Germany, and we remember Poland, and we remember Iraq, and we remember Yemen and Morocco and the Soviet Union. And unfortunately, and this is painful for me to say, but we will remember the US. We will remember Columbia University. We will remember because we don't have the luxury to forget. And the interesting thing about how we remember, and this is what sets us apart from anyone else, from them, those that want to destroy us, is we don't remember as victims. We remember as survivors. I told this yesterday in a conversation. I said, I have never in my life met a victim of the Holocaust because they're all dead. But I've met many, many survivors of the Holocaust. And last week when I went to the Nova exhibit in downtown, which I think should be a must for everyone, Jew or non-Jew, there were people walking around and telling their stories from the festival. They weren't victims of the festival, they were survivors of the festival. And this is an important thing because when you remember as a victim, you lose all agency. You have no idea what to do next, like you've been victimized. But when you remember as a survivor, you get a blueprint. And that is why we remember. We remember because it's not a history book for us, it's a how-to. We remember, we read the Haggadah on Passover to be like, okay, so, you can wait for a higher deity to come and save you, but there's also some stuff that you can do your own and, pack up and leave. when you need to. And we learn about the Holocaust, not just to commemorate as like, here's what happened, but also here's how we make sure that it never happens again. That to me is why we remember. And that's, by the way, why I'm a professor. I'm a professor that's trying to understand, as a psychologist, to understand the human mind, not out of some, armchair luxury of like, this is interesting, which it is, but also because as a professor, I want to figure out a plan forward. How do we take the lessons and make sure that we all do better? So what do our blueprints of history, what do they tell us? What do they teach us? Well, they teach us there's always going to be those that are evil. There are always going to be those that will want and attempt and sometimes succeed to eliminate some of us. It teaches us how to identify them. Our blueprints also teach us about the indifferent. They teach us about those that maybe it was too painful for them to see us being persecuted, but instead of doing something, they looked the other way. And that's an important lesson because we're seeing the exact same thing happening today. Some of my colleagues at Columbia, many of my colleagues at Columbia, many of your colleagues, whether you're in law or in the corporate world, many of your student fellows, are good people. They are good people. But they're good people that are looking the other way. And we know where that leads us. And unfortunately, our history books also teach us that at any point in time, there have been those amongst us that have betrayed our people. And we have to deal with them as well. And we need to fight them, oppose them, but also be there for them when they are the ones persecuted, because it never ends with the quote-unquote bad Jews like us. Also the good, the perfect Jews, they also come for them. But I think the most important thing that we learn is it doesn't have to be this way. We can fight back. We can fight back. We don't have the numbers, but we have the brains, and we have the passion, and we have no other choice. So we fight back. And what does that mean? For me, fighting back has been putting myself out there, shouting, expressing what I believe, burning every bridge. And honestly, I'm not worried about burning bridges because I never wanted to be on the other side anyway. But that's not the only way to fight back. Fighting back is just showing up. Sometimes just showing up to a rally is fighting back. Fighting back sometimes is just existing as a Jew. When I went up to SUNY Purchase, so I met Esti on a flight to a Stand With Us conference. We were sitting next to each other. And she was like, oh, now I have to speak with this guy for an entire 6-hour flight to to LA. And I was like, yes, I get to speak with someone for a second. But, and I said, like, look, I'll come to SUNY Purchase. If Hillel puts the bill for the train, I'll just come. And I didn't know what to expect, and I show up. I come from Columbia, and Columbia has, about 1,500 Jewish undergrads, many, many more graduate students, faculty, community, and I show up, and we're in this small, cozy basement. There's like 9 of us, or 10 of us. Then I find out one of them is Esti's dad. But then I realized sometimes our fighting back is just being Jewish in a place where they don't want Jews to be. And that to me was an immense understanding that we all fight back in our different ways. And the important thing is that we fight back. And this is why I am so extremely excited about the young generation. And I know some people look at me and say, like, well, you're the young generation. It's like, I wish, I hope. But, you know, the high schoolers, the college students that are standing up, that are taking a stand, that are showing up, you give me hope. You really give me hope in a time where there's not enough reasons for hope. But then I see someone like Tviel. I see Tessa Wexler at Santa Barbara. I see the amazing Columbia Jewish students that wrote this incredible letter that if you haven't read yet, you should go and read. It's called In Our Name. And they give me a lot of hope. So what do? You know, we don't just sit back and say, okay, the young people are going to figure this out for us. No. We have an important role right now. We have a role to support them emotionally, because they are going through much more than all of us post our schooling years are ever going. So we need to support them mentally. We need to support them financially, to give them the resources that they need to fight their fight, our fight, and to give them the voice, the platform. We need to amplify their voices because they have incredible voices. And all we need to do is be their shofar. They have more knowledge than I and many of us around the room will ever have. And we just need to help them get that knowledge, that voice out there. And in that regard, Stand With Us has been incredible. I am ashamed to say, and I got into trouble when I told Rose this in the annual conference, I didn't know about Stand With Us before October 7th. And that's on me. That's not on anyone here. That is on me. We no longer have the privilege of not knowing. So I am so immensely thankful for Stand With Us for the work that they do. I'm so immensely thankful for all the students, the high schoolers, the college students. And I just want you to know, I'm in this fight with you until the end, and the end is going to be positive. I've never been introduced with a Menachem Begin quote, I have to say. My grandfather might be rolling in his grave, but he also might be smiling. And we will fight, and we will stand tall, and we will not die. This is not our first rodeo, but I want to make sure it's the last one. That once we beat this, our kids and our grandkids will never have to deal with this again. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shai. Let's hear it for all of our speakers and honorees. I want to say thank you to everyone who's here. Thank you for being a part of this movement. And can we just put up the lights for 1 second? The lights? All the lights? There we go. Can all of the Stand With Us staff please raise your hands if you are a Stand With Us staffer? The people who are raising their hands right now, these are the people who every single day are working with our students, working with the communities. I'm the one who shares a lot of the stories. They're the ones who are helping to make the stories. So yes. For anyone who is looking for more details, more information, more ways that you, your children, your grandchildren can get involved, we have our amazing campus team with us. We have our amazing high school team with us. We have our amazing middle school team with us. We have people from our legal team who are here. Please approach them. Please talk to them. They are more than happy to share what is happening and ways that we can all work together. So I want to just conclude by saying thank you all for being here. Thank you for being a part of this movement. And please join us in the room where you were before for an amazing dessert reception. Thank you.